Hey, you ever have compassion? Did you ever struggle with compassion? Have you ever had somebody express compassion to you? Did you like it? These are all important things for you to think about because we're talking about compassion. Hey, I'm Sarah Bowling, and we're starting a new series on compassion, and specifically looking at it as it relates to Jesus. And as you read Jesus throughout the Gospels, you'll see very strategic times when Jesus had compassion, expressed compassion, and then the results of that. So that's what we're talking about in this series. What that looks like, how Jesus demonstrates, and how it can be integral, important for us, not only to us, but also through us. So the very first place I want to look at with compassion in Jesus, we read about in Matthew 9:36. And it's interesting because as you read this verse, it says, seeing the people, Jesus felt compassion for them because they were distressed and dispirited, like sheep without a shepherd. And I find this to be super interesting. You know, the word compassion in the Greek is the Greek word, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation, but it's splagizomai. And this word is really interesting because if you really get into the roots of it, it's like your deep internal kidneys even are moved to the core. It's a very instinctual, visceral feeling. And it's so strong and very, very intense that it's not just that you feel it, but it's almost an immediate reaction to that because this feeling is so intense. And I find it really interesting that one of the very first places you see Jesus feeling this compassion is when he sees a crowd of people. And he sees the people and he has compassion for them because they are dispirited and distressed. If you look it up in different translations, it can be confused, they can be helpless, weary, scattered. And it's interesting. If you've ever been in a crowd and you've watched people walking through in the crowd, I remember one time I've been in huge crowds, and I don't really like crowds that much. I'd rather hang out at the edges. I don't want to be in the middle because it just doesn't make me. But you can watch crowds and watch the feeling of crowds kind of swell and decline. And Jesus saw exactly that. Exactly crowds being helpless, scattered, hopeless, without direction. And this caused Jesus to have compassion. And it's really important for us to think about this because crowds that are helpless, that are scattered, they can be easily manipulated and distracted, distorted. And we've seen throughout history bad things that have happened with dispirited, distressed, helpless, confused, scattered, leaderless crowds. We'll see somebody step into that, and oftentimes bad things can happen. But I like that Jesus is our good shepherd. And it says he had compassion because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And I just encourage you today that Jesus has compassion for us. He sees the crowds, he sees life, he sees the people around us. And he sees the bad things that crowds can do, but he also sees the compassion that he has and wants to lead in very constructive, helpful ways. So thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and love to have you. Of course, hit the notification bell right there because we'll keep you posted when we put up new content. And thinking about this as we finish up, here's a joke for you. Hello, because we know we love these jokes. What did the judge say to the dentist? It says, do you swear to pull the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth? Oh my gosh, that is such a horrible joke. Yes, but next week will be lots better. Thanks so much.